coffee.
Uh-oh.
Well, it tastes like they put caramel syrup.
Somebody's fired.
Me?
Not you, them.
Oh.
I'm tired. I fell back to sleep.
Well, it was a little early. We had a big barbecue last night, so I'm still recovering. It's only supposed to be 81 here today. I'm so excited.
Oh, it's actually been kind of like that here too.
Yeah, it's going to be so nice. We actually have big, dark cloudy skies right now. I have a parade to be in 2 hours. Good morning. Look, we have people joining us.
They are here already.
So nice of you guys to join us on the 4th of July.
Well, it could either be really good because everyone's home and relaxing, or it could be really bad. So we'll see.
Yep. I bet there's people working. Look, Tony Mazel's open up this morning. Tony has a new shop. He's got to get cleaned up.
Yeah, get to work, Tony.
Man, Tony's just breaking hearts left and right. He said, "Good morning, especially Chris." And then, Tony, I saw yesterday where you said you'd rather detail with Levi. That hurt my feelings.
Oh, wow.
That hurt my feelings.
Foot and mouth all the time. Just don't talk about racing your husband.
Yeah, really.
You guys need me to kick Tony off this little... No? Okay.
No, we're happy to have him. I like him. Darn it. Good morning, everybody.
Well, I mean, we like him because of his wife. She's pretty awesome.
Yeah. We'll keep it because of Bonnie. Yes, Tony, we're totally busted. I saw that thread. They said the thread was on the rag company. It said, if you could only detail with one person, who would it be? And he put Levi.
We know where his man crush is. I'm crushed.
Yeah. William, let's just call this Coffee with Sydney. No joke, right? Happy 4th of July.
I'm going to see you in a couple weeks, William.
Yeah, I'm going to see him. I'm going to see him like next Sunday.
No.
Oh, no, I won't. Never mind. Wrong trip.
Well, you might as well. I mean, you're talking about a special project in Seattle, and I'm talking about a special project in Monterey.
Yeah.
He'll be at that one. He's sponsoring I think a lunch or something. That's why you thought he was going.
Yeah. Well, we can't wait to see you, William. We're super excited. So there's a lot of people here. I'm so excited. So that's what I was kind of wondering. It looks like there's some people working this morning. And hey, that's awesome. Doing an early morning 4th of July detail and then getting ready for all the festivities. And I totally get that because I've always thought 4th of July was weird, right? If you didn't have like a parade or something to do in the morning, you just sit around until 10 o'clock at night waiting for something to happen on the 4th of July. So
yeah, I agree. Well,
awesome.
You have to pay for gas money, and those fireworks cost more now. So you got to slide one in there 4th of July morning.
Yeah. Same with the grocery store, man. I went to buy food yesterday for a barbecue. Good morning, Richard. Okay, we'll see Richard in a few days.
See, I have my fan. Thanks, Richard. Love you, bro.
Kyle is so hot. That's so funny.
I have my own fan club. So you have William. I'll take Richard.
Yes, and Mike's Auto Detailing. It was awesome meeting you too last week in Hayward. That was so fun. That was such a fun event. Gosh, we have a lot to catch up on. Was that less than 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, weeks.
Holy moly. All right, so what do we do first? Recap the last couple events, then move forward to the next couple?
You were at the last event, so let's do that, and then we can talk about the upcoming events in a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. So a week and a half ago, Rennie and myself went to PNS headquarters in Hayward, and we met Justin and Robin from Auto Geek there. And that Thursday, we filmed some videos, and that was awesome. We had a great time doing that. And then that night, we had a detailers meet and greet at PNS, and I never counted how many people were there, but there was a lot of people. my guess would be over 50. It was really, really awesome. We had tacos and we did a full facility tour and we just sat and hang out and ate dinner and it was so so great. It was really nice to connect with all those detailers over there and we had an awesome cake and it was just a good time. And then on Friday we had the Auto Geek Roadshow training. We had about 15 students, and man, what a great training. It was just, I was a little bit worried going into it with four instructors. I thought, well, this will be interesting, because normally we work in like a team of two, right? One or two. So, but it actually was perfect. It was so awesome. It was so fun to train alongside those guys. And we just had a fantastic group of students, really, really good. So it was overall a really, really good training event. Really, really enjoyed it. And I think the students did too. And that was super fun. Super fun.
Bob said you guys did a great job, but he really loved the magic that happened between you and Robin. He said you guys just flowed well together.
It'll be fun to see.
For the videos.
Yeah, me too. Robin and I did a lot of videos together, and it was pretty fun. Pretty fun. And then coming up, so obviously today's 4th of July. Happy 4th of July, everybody. This is one of my favorite days all year. I love Independence Day. So I'm going to be heading to a parade shortly after this, which I'm super excited about in my little neighborhood of Hidden Springs. And let's see, and then this week, kind of finishing up, doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and then everybody leaves for Air Force One project on Saturday, Sunday. So a couple more days to kind of get prepared, and I'm sure everybody has seen all the announcements on Facebook. Super cool. The team is going to be awesome, and I have no idea what to expect as I'm a rookie this year. So I'm trying to get ready. I had to unpack my 100-foot extension cable to plug in my computer that was dead this morning. So I got to test that out, make sure it works.
It works.
It works.
Nice.
Yeah. So that project's coming up. Chris, do you want to talk about that at all? I'm just along for the ride.
I mean, I don't have much to share. It's we got 30 team members going to Seattle next Sunday. They'll be there from Sunday to Sunday. You guys will be working 6 days straight on right now scheduled to be 5 different airplanes. Air Force One is one of them, a B-29, and then a few others. So, cool. It's an all volunteer project at the Museum of Flight. And this is the 19th year that we've done it, or it's been 19 years. It's not 19 consecutive years because of good old COVID screwed that one up for everybody.
Yeah, right.
But it's the 19th year, so we're awesome. Excited to do it again.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So I'm sure you guys will all see plenty of social media and teasers, details, all that kind of good stuff from Air Force One. So, and then Kyle, what else you got? What else is coming up?
Well, we are talking about Monterey, starting to get planned for the Monterey Car Week, which is in August. What else do we have coming up? July's pretty busy with other stuff. You know, between Air Force One's taking up a lot of it, and we're just gonna try it. I wanted to schedule more trainings and events, but with everyone's time, it's just not enough in July. So we'll get back into the trainings and stuff. Do we have any trainings coming up for Prentice, Chris?
He's got trainings this month in July.
Okay.
August is busy for Prentice, so there's no August trainings, and then they continue after that every month.
And I love Independence Day also. I am away this Independence Day. As you can see, it's not my normal background. I'm in Traverse City, Michigan with my family for the next couple weeks. Well, not Traverse. We're in Traverse for the next day. But it's been cool here. This place is awesome. I got to watch the Blue Angels fly over for 3 days now.
Oh my gosh.
Practiced on I think Friday, Saturday they actually flew. Yesterday they flew, and today's their final show. So every
Wow, how
day
fun.
at like 2 o'clock, the entire city is just loud as could be with 6 or 7 jets flying by. It's awesome. Plus,
How
other
fun.
other airplanes are flying around too earlier in the show, but those all kind of stay over the bay. The Blue Angels end up taking over the entire bay and the city. So yesterday I was taking a tour of a sane asylum, which is pretty cool, and the guy had to stop a ton because it was so loud.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah,
That's
I'm
awesome.
it hit there. I've never seen them. Super
Oh
cool.
gosh. Oh, I love them. I could sit and watch them all
Well,
day. That's so
Yep.
awesome.
so you're near that air show in Michigan. They had a gnarly accident at that air show this weekend, though.
Oh, did they? I
It
haven't
was
heard about that.
there's a guy with a jet truck, a big semi truck with a jet engine.
Mm-hmm.
It crashed and he ended up dying on the
Oh
airfield.
no.
Oh,
Oh
I'll have to
shoot.
look it up. I
Little downer this morning, but
didn't
Yikes.
hear that. Well, there's they call it a cherry festival. I guess
Mhm.
this area is known for their cherries, and so there's things going on every day this week. But last night Dwight Yoakam played, so we sat and listened to Dwight Yoakam for a while, and then tonight I'm super excited about Collective Soul is playing.
Oh fun.
So we're gonna go down by the bay and sit in the not paid seats outside the gate and listen to
Mm,
Collective Soul. So yeah,
that's
just
awesome.
enjoying family time. Not my normal place to be,
Mm-hmm.
but we're gonna have a good time. So I won't be there for Air Force One because I am with my family the next week or two. So
That's awesome. Very cool.
all right,
Very cool. Well,
let's talk about our
let's go.
favorite details.
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about our favorite details. So,
And
um,
you and
so
I
I have
didn't collaborate last night, so I don't know what your
no.
favorite detail is at all.
Yeah, you should. You'll know after I say it. So, this is kind of funny because normally in situations like this, I wouldn't talk about it on Bead Maker and Coffee, but I want to because it's kind of a follow-up to the last one. So, my absolute favorite product of the last 2 weeks is the Full Throttle that Josh Pierce talked about on the last Bead Maker and Coffee. So he was saying that we needed to try it, that I needed to go down to the basement and grab the Full Throttle and try it out with the Buff and Shine blueberry pad. And holy cow! So so I found out a little bit more about Full Throttle. Actually talked extensively to both Keith and Bob about it. So it was originally developed. I mean, I think over 30 years ago. It was a long time ago, and it was developed to be a rotary polish. So it's got some solvents in it and things like that. And so after I found that out, I was like, oh, I do remember hearing that that was a rotary polish, and that's why I never actually got into it. I'd had it. It's literally been sitting right next to me for 3 years in my compound bin. And so I gave it a try that day because right after Josh let us know, I had a coating that day. So I went and tried it and I was like, what is this stuff? This is amazing. And it's funny because that's kind of what we've been doing is taking some of these older products and adapting them to the new technology that's out now, whether that be foam or, machine type with a DA or what have you. And so it works fantastic on a DA with a blue pad. I'm sure it works great on a forced action. It did so much. And the place I see this is like that one-step paint enhancement for coatings, right? I'm sure it works great as a polish too, but this is where I really saw the product shine was those, one steps. I did 2 older cars with it this week, and then I also did 2 brand new cars. It worked fantastic on all 4. Just really, really good. And the 2 older ones both had pretty significant marring and even some deeper scratches. And I was surprised that, it took out some pretty good scratches. So for me, where I rate this, because you all know that I'm a huge fan of the Last Cut, um, I felt like it falls right in between the Last Cut and the Last Cut Plus on the level of correction it did. which was great. Because I love the Last Cut Plus, but sometimes you're pushing the limits trying to do a one step with the Last Cut Plus, right? I mean, you're kind of, it's a fine line whether you're going to finish out appropriately with that. And this finished out perfect. So it was a stronger cut, even though it's called a polish, it was a stronger cut than the Last Cut Compound. But those solvents that it has in it from being a rotary polish made it so incredibly easy to wipe off. I mean, stinking easy. And it just left a great finish, super glossy. And I just absolutely fell in love with that product. So thank you, Josh. That was a great one to pull out of the basement. And I'm so excited about it now. And I'm sure that I made Bob's head spin with my text the other day.
Well, you
Oh
know,
my gosh.
we
Yeah.
both got scared of it because we weren't
Yeah.
using rotary. And
Right.
so, you know,
Yeah.
when we were said, you know, it's a
Yeah.
rotary product, we just didn't
Yeah.
try it. We just didn't
Yeah.
use it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, thanks, Josh, to that. I've been using it. I've been enjoying it as well.
Mhm.
And I was gonna say, um, I'm still figuring out like my favorite pad with it.
Mhm.
Um, I haven't done enough vehicles. I've only done two with
Yeah.
it since then.
Mhm.
All everything else I was doing didn't require any polishing the
Mhm.
last couple weeks. So yeah, it's going to be a great product. And we already talked to Bob and said, hey, I think we need a new label, a new
Mhm.
update.
Yep.
So we'll see how long that takes. There's a lot of other projects going on,
Yep.
a
Yep.
lot of some big projects going on right now. So it's going to be
Mhm.
awesome. Um, and you know, it's funny how Edward just asked if there's a new video with the clay reset towel, because I'm going to talk about the reset towel. I am
Mhm.
super happy with this thing.
Mhm.
Ever since we kind of got the prototype back in, was it October, November
Mhm.
ish?
Mhm.
I've always loved using a clay bar. I've always felt like clay bar was safer because I didn't mar anything. I really wasn't into the clay mitts very much because every time I felt like I was
Mhm.
marring paint. But with this clay reset towel, our towel, the black and red, I don't feel like I'm marring anything.
Mhm.
It's buttery soft. It's unlike any other clay towel I've ever used. And I'm usually, if I'm going to do synthetic clay, it's been a clay mitt because my
Mhm.
hand fits perfectly on it. It feels like it has some cushion. Um, but when we started playing with this clay towel, I did fall in love.
Mhm.
The material that the rubber is back to, the red is super soft. The black rubber or synthetic clay is just super nice. I love how all the particles can flow into the holes,
Mhm.
all the contaminants, and then when you wash it out, it's not like it's forcing it back into the paint. And we've been doing the Sydney clay and protect in one step with Bead Maker and making some major money in a short amount of time. My guys are blown away how they could go from, you know, washing the car straight to the clay towel. Oh, I gotta stop calling it that. It's the reset towel and Bead Maker, and we're protecting in one. So it's really nice.
Yeah.
It is a fine grade, so it's if it's really heavy contaminants, you're gonna have to clay a little longer. But
Mhm.
I love that I'm not gonna mar the paint, and it's perfect for my maintenance and
Yeah.
ceramic coating maintenance.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
great find there.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with that towel. So I've been doing it's funny because we do have we have a TikTok out, a video of a reel, all sorts of stuff on this towel. And we've gotten a lot of questions. And one of the questions that keeps coming up is why would you use Bead Maker as a clay lube? And the best thing I can say to that is if you haven't used it, you are missing out on something magical. The bead maker with this towel is a literal rock star. It makes your job so easy, and the finish that it provides is just absolutely amazing. And I've talked to Dave a couple times about that. So I've been doing this process, a variation of it, for about 5 years. And when I really asked him about why, because sometimes we hear about Bead Maker not lasting and all that kind of stuff. And in my shop, this is pretty much, I would say 90% of the way that I use Bead Maker is with this towel. And so I asked him, in my shop, I find that Bead Maker, the cars are coming back in 6 months and the Bead Maker's still there. And I said, I really feel like it has something to do with the reset towel. And he said, yeah, because when you are immediately exfoliating the paint, right? Like it's happening on contact. You're exfoliating that paint, it's opening up the pores of the paint. You have a perfectly clean surface. It is giving the bead maker the perfect surface to bond with. So you're getting full bond of that bead maker. And so it's just helping the protection. And so, that process is such a money maker and it leaves such a great final finish for the customer. I mean, it looks like you polished the car. It feels amazing, and the bead maker's full action, right? So they're getting the full benefit of the bead maker, and I have great results with that. I have for years. That's the only thing I do. If I'm not doing a coating, they're getting the clay and seal. It is such a fantastic process, and so my answer to that has been, if you haven't tried it as a clay lube, you're missing out. I've never used it with a traditional clay bar, but this with the reset towel, awesome. And
Well,
that's
you actually can't use Bead Maker with a traditional clay bar.
okay.
The
Okay, good.
polymers
I've
in the
never
bar
tried.
will break down,
Okay.
and it will start to smear.
Yeah.
So that's what's great about synthetic clay is allows you
Mhm.
to use a traditional clay lube like our paint
Paint
gloss.
gloss. Mhm.
You can use Bead Maker, which is going to lubricate. But
Mhm.
like you said, if they're not getting a coating, then you're using Bead Maker. I have
Mhm.
been testing it with TrueView glass cleaner, and it works good if I'm just going to come back and I'm going to coat it. So if I'm going to just do a wash clay and sole,
Mhm.
I washed it. I used glass as my lube because I didn't want to put paint gloss on.
Mhm.
And I'm saying glass, not paint prep. Paint
Mhm.
prep, I think, is going to be way too strong and it's going to mess up the reset towel.
Mhm.
So between the glass, the paint gloss, and Bead Maker are kind of my three go-to lubricants, depending
Mhm.
on the direction we're going to
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
It just kind of worked for me and my guys. If we're going to do a
Mhm.
coating right after, then I was using the glass.
Mhm.
If we're going to do a polish and we're going to, or we're just going to top it with a sealant or something after, then we'll go paint gloss.
Mhm.
But if
Mhm.
we're just going to protect in one step, it's Bead Maker. So I've kind of given, I have a good, better, best system
Mhm.
in my business. And so my guys understand that whatever our protection level is will
Mhm.
be the lubricant we adjust to.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that works great for me. Um,
Mhm.
I've
Yeah.
heard people using Pearl as a lube.
Mhm.
I think it'll be fine as long as you've already washed the vehicle.
Yeah.
You got to get the bigger
Mhm.
dirt and debris off before you just foam it and go, or you're going to scratch the paint.
Yeah. Yep. So let's stay on the reset towel for a minute, which we have a bunch of questions coming in. But the other question that keeps coming up um, on on social media about this is, how long will it last? And honestly, I don't know. I've had towels like this for, oh my gosh, well over 2 years. I mean, it's going to last a really long time. It's not like, I've had some from other companies, years ago that would maybe last 25 cars. And I mean, there's a couple of mine that I have hundreds of cars on. So it's going to last a really, really long time. So that was just one other question. Then we've got other questions that I won't spoil in the chat, but that was one that keeps coming up, is how many cars? And I
Yeah,
don't know a number because it's
if
a
you
lot.
take care of it, if you
Yeah.
don't let it sit in the sun, that's one thing I am, I have
Mhm.
employees.
Mhm.
So I tell them, hey guys, after rinse it off with water, wring it
Mhm.
out, and then put it back in its sleeve and then put it away. Don't let it sit in the
Mhm.
sun where it'll overheat it.
Mhm.
My red and black one that I received at TRCMA when we got our first from Bob, he gave us our
Mhm.
first little test batch. Um, I probably have 50 cars on it. But
Mhm.
my other tester that I had before we went and to the color we've chosen, uh, I have well over 100, maybe 150 on there, and
Mhm.
some of those are RVs. I
Mhm.
mean, I've clayed RVs with this thing, so I
Mhm.
mean, we're doing big, big sections, and I just take care of it. So don't leave it in the sun. But it
Mhm.
does. I've tested other clay towels from other places, China, Korea.
Mhm.
Companies have sent them to me over the years. Really aggressive, really minor. Nothing feels like this. Not
Mhm.
all of them are feel stiff or that
Yeah.
it feels tightly bonded. This feels like
Mhm.
the best way I describe it is buttery soft.
Mhm.
I've never
Yeah.
held a clay towel like this before.
Yep.
So
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about storage real quick. Kirby asks, what's the best way to store the reset towel? So there's a couple different ways. So like Kyle just said, he stores his in the packaging. So wring it out, rinse it out, wring it out, roll it up, keep it in the package. I have never found this towel to be tacky. So, as long as you treat it correctly and do that. But for me, I always have a bucket of rinseless in my shop. So mine lives in my bucket of rinseless and it's lived there for years and it's totally fine. So super great. And then I saw another question that asked, what's the best way to clean it? So this one I love. I love, love. So what I do is a bucket of hot water with rags to riches. So, kind of same dilution as we do for soaking our towels. I usually do my reset towels by themselves. So, hot water, rags to riches. And I mean, if you want dilutions, I probably do a gallon to, and then probably like a quarter of a cup of rags to riches and just soak it overnight. They come out looking brand new. Does not affect the clay at all, strips all the stuff out of the mat. It's amazing. And the water will be brown, literal brown. It pulls so much of the stuff out of the clay towel. And I honestly think that's why mine lasts so long because I strip them about I probably only do it honestly every 3 to 6 months, but I should do it more often. That is the key. So strip them out with the rags to riches. It works awesome. I have accidentally washed mine before too, and it was fine. I wouldn't make a habit of that, but it honestly was fine.
oh my gosh. Well, as long as it's not in, like I said, direct sunlight or it can
Yeah.
damage it,
Yeah.
that's kind of my biggest fear because I've seen what
Hmm.
happens to other clay
Yeah.
towel brands,
Right.
and I mean they became crusty hard
Yeah.
in the sun, or when you went to use them next time, they smeared on the paint,
Yeah. And Kyle,
and nothing gets that off.
I don't know if you saw when you were in my shop, I had one that half the clay was missing. And that was actually from tar remover. So it was a tar remover that I was testing. It wasn't a PNS product. And I was testing a tar remover and I had rinsed the vehicle and everything, but there must have been trace amounts of it on the car. And right when that towel went across that section, just
Yeah,
melted. So
that's
be careful. Yeah. So be
that's a
careful.
good word of advice. I learned that the hard way years ago.
Yeah.
Same thing. The tar remover residue kind of clings to the side.
Hmm.
And so I kind of made it a practice that we clay after the wash
Yeah.
before tar remover.
Yep. Yep. That's what
That's
I
kind
did.
of the
So
order that I even have in my You're Able. It
yeah.
literally says tar remover after clay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Cause that was the saddest thing to me was to pull that off the car and see that the clay was missing. It was sad.
it's a
So
bummer.
yeah. So don't use it over tar remover. All right, Gabriel, question. Why is Bead Maker applied with a pump sprayer more durable than when applied by a trigger sprayer? Is that because the droplets are smaller?
I don't know if it's more durable that way. I think you are getting a really, really nice spread out
Hmm.
um, layer of bead maker, but it is more uniform especially I started playing with that battery powered one that
Hmm.
we have bead
Oh yeah.
maker in it. And you just
Hmm.
tap it and give it a nice fine mist. Man, it's so much
Hmm.
nicer than having a pump all the time.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't know if it's more durable, but definitely you're applying it in a more even layer that way. It's a finer
Mhm,
mist evenly.
mhm, mhm.
I don't know. I don't.
Yeah,
I'd love to see, some testing. Maybe we'll all have to do half a hood with a spray bottle and then
yeah,
half a hood with a pump sprayer or that battery powered sprayer and
yeah.
see
That
which one lasts longer.
that kind of makes sense to me because, the bigger the droplets, the more you're just sucking up in your towel, right? So that kind of makes sense to me that maybe you are getting a more even, lighter coating that it's, bonding with the paint before you wipe it away. So I could see that. But yeah, that's a good test to run for sure. All right, Richard, question I found that bead maker leaves high spots. How are you avoiding that? I for me, I've never had a high spot from bead maker in the last probably 4 years. But you know what I do is I use the FTW towel. I really believe that the towel that you use is your success or your fail for bead maker. So you want something that is a little bit higher pile that definitely is it absorbs enough, because you need to make sure that you're getting all of the bead maker that's not, linked with the paint off of there. The same as a coating. Um, and so what happens, I feel like in a lot of high spots that I've seen is that either they're not using the right towel or your towels are clogged with bead maker. And so it's fighting it and leaving some on the surface. So that's the other thing you have to make sure is that the towels that you're using are not clogged, which if they are, then you need to do a rags to riches soak. So I don't really ever get high spots, but like I say, I have been using FTWs for probably 4 years now since they came out. That's all I've used with BeadMaker and love it. All right, Shelby. Hey guys, can you tell? I wanted to try to apply another liquid max wax on top of BeadMaker. Is it better to apply straight or on top or wait for the next wash like 1 week and do it later?
Well, I have heard that carnubas sometimes can be streaky when you put them on top of bead maker. So it depends on the liquid wax. If it's a spray applied product, you may have some streaks. So you may want to allow the bead maker, give it its time, those few months or strip it. Or if it's like a machine applied cream type wax, you should be fine because it's going to abrade the bead maker enough. If you're just going to apply it with like an orbital.
Mhm.
But really depends. We have a product called Spray It that is a spray carnauba wax. And I've been playing with it off and on with Bead Maker, and I haven't had any problems on most cars except black paint.
Mhm.
Black paint is where you're going to notice the streaking problems the most.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, and I just would, be prepared with your results that you are just doing experimenting, because I think that for the most part you don't generally want to put a wax on top of bead maker, especially if the bead maker is still active, because we have to remember that bead maker actually bonds with the paint, unlike carnauba wax, which basically sits on top of it. So when you've got that surface of the paint sealed, the wax isn't really going to do anything, and it so just be aware that you are doing an experiment and that it's not necessarily the preferred way. Usually you want, usually you
well,
want to pick either a wax or a sealant,
yeah,
just
the other
because
thing is
generally speaking they're not going to play well together.
you're gonna slow down the performance of bead maker.
Hmm.
So bead maker, kind of like a ceramic coating, it beads really, really well.
Hmm.
I've found that if you go to put a carnauba wax or a wax on top of anything coating, it doesn't bead as well. And I tell
Hmm.
people, I said, you're like mixing race fuel, super high
Yeah.
contact angle, just water flows right off. You're
Hmm.
diluting it down with, a really low grade fuel. And so it's
Hmm.
just not going to bead well. It's not going to shine as well.
Hmm.
Um, but if I don't know what product we're talking about here, but yeah, if you want to put a wax on, you probably should strip off the bead maker because they're not going to play well together.
Yeah. Yep. All right. We've got had a kid holler yesterday, and a kid drew all over the door panels and the leather seat with a Sharpie. Tried APC and steamer with no luck. Door panels, like
Door panels with a Sharpie.
and the leather seat.
So this goes off of the P&S brand. Two things you could try. One, you could take our tar remover really quick and really light and just touch it and see if it does anything. Not wipe it. I'm just saying touch it. And depending on if it's just black plastic on there, you should be just fine, or even like a tan. Or but if it's vinyl or leather on the door panel, it's not going to work well. There's a product online called, I think it's a transfer remover, like a dye or leather transfer remover. It's a little clear bottle with an orange label. I've used that to get ink off before. And then another product is called a Glip Stick. It's like a little thing of chapstick that comes from Glip Tone. Great people make this product, and it's literally you use this little piece of chapstick and you rub it. And I had success with it on leather. A few weeks ago, I went to do a warranty job for 3M, and I have no idea what these people did, but the leather should have been tan and it was brown. I don't want to know how it turned brown. I think it involved a dog, and but that will save your booty there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's it, Chris. I've used that. That is as aggressive as you can safely get without using acetone, because acetone will damage leather, plastic, vinyl, all that. So I didn't know that Detailer's Domain had that. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's a good product.
Yeah, and same answers. It's just kind of one of those things. Sometimes it's going to work, sometimes it's not. It's really going to depend on what brand of Sharpie it was. Was it like an official Sharpie brand? Was it a knockoff? That does make a difference in the ink quality, on how permanent it is, and then also just the quality of the leather. Like how much room do you have? If it was super dry leather, chances are it really absorbed that ink, because that super dry leather looks for anything that's wet to absorb. So yeah, you might have luck with that. You might not. It's kind of one of those, you just never know for sure. You can try what you can try, but yeah, sometimes
if the
it's gonna
leather
work, sometimes
absorbed
not.
it in and it was already dry, you're probably not going to get it off.
Right. Yeah.
Not without really rubbing the heck out of the leather, and then you're going to damage the leather.
Which then you're just going to leave the opposite effect, and you're going to have a big worn, bleached spot, and that's not going to look any better. So, yeah.
Yeah, give that a try. That's the safest thing I could say, without me actually being there to experiment with different chemicals. That would be your safest two products that I could think of.
Yeah. Yep.
I hope that helps.
All right, Terry Foreman, best coating wipe off towel. So there's a lot of good ones. I think that some of us have different favorites, and that's okay. It's kind of what is comfortable for you and what you like. I know, Rennie, I think, likes a little bit higher pile than I do for your first wipe off. And my favorite is probably just honestly, it's like an edgeless 300 or even an edgeless 365 is probably my favorite that I use the most. I do use pearls too, but I don't know. I feel like I just like the edgeless ones better. Sometimes the pearls, they're kind of coating dependent too, on which ones they work well with. So for me, I just like the edgeless. I generally, it's a 300. It's like a yellow 300. I really like those ones for my first wipe. But some people jump up to, something fluffier for their first wipe, and that's totally okay. I think you got to find what works for you and what's comfortable in your hand. Because I know, especially for the second wipe, I know you didn't ask about the second wipe, but like Keith likes a what's that thing called? Insanity towel for the second wipe, and that's way too big for my
That's
hand.
like an 800
Yeah.
GSM thing.
Yeah.
It's
So, yeah. So basically, I think that, again, absorbency is important because you don't want to be pushing the product, right? So you want it to absorb that flashing right away. You don't want it to just push product. So I think that the absorbency is important. And then for me, it's feel. I don't want to be pushing too hard. I don't want to be pushing too light. So I like the 300 because it's a lightweight towel and I can feel my pressure, to make sure that it's an even pressure and that I'm not, pushing into the paint, trying to make sure that I wipe it off. So mine is the 300. How about you, Kyle?
same. I like that 360 edgeless.
365. Yeah.
What is it? Man, I get their numbers confused sometimes.
I think they
360,
just have
350.
I think they only have well, they have an Eagle 350, but the edgeless is a 365.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I do, yeah. And that is, if you ever see me using the towel, it's usually this goldish
Yeah.
towel or yellow towel. I have towels from a couple of different brands. But this is like the higher quality
Yeah.
edgeless version of what everyone likes to use, the Costco towel. Because it has a little bit more body to it. I think Costco is probably closer to 300, but it's just a better quality towel, and that's what I like. I buy them in cases,
Yep.
and it's good for me because it works for my hand pressure and my employees, and I can see if they're really pushing or if they're just gliding.
Yep.
If it's too much pile, then that would be a problem because we'd see their hands sink in. So that's been great for me. I kind of fell in love with that gray minor towel, which is also an edgeless
Yep.
365.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of become my go-to for coating wipe-offs, and it's not led me astray. I've done more plush at the end. I don't see a need for it. I think the 3 towels being the same is fine with me.
Yeah, I do. I like a little bit plusher at the end, but just because I like to really kind of softly go over it. I think that again, like especially on Legend, if you hit that first wipe right, there's, you almost have nothing left for the second towel. And so I like it a little bit fluffier. I really like the creature for the second wipe, but I do too, sometimes if I'm, not wanting to go dig in a different bin, I end up using another 365. But I do like a creature, but that's about all I do. I don't go fluffier than that. I don't do the Eagles or anything like that just because I know I'm going to throw them away. So
Let me
but
ask
I
you
do like
this.
a creature. I do like a creature.
So when you wipe, I have this problem with my employees.
Mhm,
One of them kind of wipes at an angle. That's what I want them to do.
mhm,
Your finger. One of them likes to go finger,
mhm. Oh yeah.
and I'm
Uh-huh.
like, stop the
Yeah.
fingering. You got to
No,
kind
I
of.
let the towel glide, especially on that second one. And I think that's why I like the creature because it's got the short pile on one side and a long pile on the other. So depending on, what you're doing, you kind of have that versatility. But I like the creature because it's just fluffy enough that, I can let it glide, but I know that it's also has enough body to actually be picking up any coating that is left behind. That is always what I've worried about with like the Eagles is it getting enough pressure to pick up any of that, leftover coating? And so I really like the creature because it's fluffy, but it still has a stiff body to pick up the product. So I love the creature. I don't like it for the first wipe, but the second wipe I'm all about it. But see now Levi, his first wipe is the creature. So again, there's no wrong answer. You got to find what works for you. But for me, I like the real low pile, the first wipe, so especially too, because I want to see. I want to see what all's coming up. So, yeah, Gabriel minor first and creature second. That's what I do. So yeah, those are pretty much the only two I play with, though. I don't venture out into other, like I say, once in a while a pearl, but I like the edgeless.
No, it everyone, it's preference.
Hmm.
I doubt you're going to want to use a super, super short pile or a super plush one for the beginning.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
there
And I
are
don't I
people
don't
out there
use
that
cheap
probably do
towels
it.
either. That's the other thing I always hear about is people trying to use cheap towels. And, for me, I just build it into my coating price. I want to use, I'm providing a premium service, so I'm going to use premium towels. That's kind of my philosophy on that. Because, the wrong towels can kind of mess up your coating. They can make it difficult, and if you've got something that doesn't have, the right GSM, or if it has edges on it or something, for me personally, I only use the best towels for coatings, because I want to make sure that it goes, I've went through all that process of getting the paint good, the coating, the time in my shop and stuff. So I'm
Don't
only
cheap
using,
out at the end.
yeah, I don't cheap out on towels. All right, what about the pearls for coating removal? We kind of talked about that a little bit. Hans, here's the thing. I think that they work fine. I do like the pearls, and they're different weights, right? So those orange and what are the other colors? I think they're like a gray and a green. Those ones work well. And I'm only going to speak of PNS coatings here because there's the only ones that I've used in the last couple of years. So Inspiration, those lighter weight pearls work fine. For Legend, they don't, because it's a little bit, to me, it's a Legend, because it is a little bit grabby. It tends to move the pearl too much in your hand. Now the purple pearl is good for Legend because it's a little bit stiffer, so it stays a little bit, more shape when you're doing your initial wipe off. So I kind of, if I am using them, I split that. So purple for Legend, all the other colors for Inspiration, and for Soul too. But for me, I think that I found that the 300s or the 365s work just as well for me. So then it just becomes a cost issue. The pearls are a little bit more expensive, but they work fine. I used one the other day on a coating that I did, and they're totally fine. I don't buy them in bulk as much. And so I just have found that I really like the 300s and 365s, but the pearls are great. That's kind of what they're made for. So totally preference. I just don't keep enough around.
At one time, I think we thought pearls were the ultimate answer,
and
then we backed away from that.
Yeah,
because
you know why? I think I backed away from it is because I found, I tried to do a couple trainings with pearls, and I just found that if they're a little bit more sensitive on the timing. So if you don't hit the timing just right. So I felt like, because in trainings, we are obviously training people that a lot of them have never used coatings before. I mean, like at all, any brands. And so I just felt like, is that crazy to say that I feel like the pearls are maybe for a little bit more advanced? Because I just really want people to feel how the coatings are reacting. And the pearls really do block that tactile thing for me. So I think I just switched, because I think the pearls are great, but I think I switched just because of training, and wanting, trainees to really understand how to use regular towels. Because it's a different experience and a different feel using the pearls for any coatings. It's just a little different. So yeah, but they're totally fine. If you like them, go for it.
What other questions have come up recently that we've had to tackle?
Oh man, we had so many about the clay
Chris,
towel.
do we have any more on here?
We got through what these guys have so far.
Okay, cool. So the clay towel, the big one was how many can you use?
Yeah.
I've had other questions recently. Man, a ton of questions about how do I get free shit is what people basically are saying.
That's always our favorite.
So yeah, those ones are starting to get deleted more often, the way they ask. Gosh, it's kind of funny though.
Yeah.
You gotta actually follow us before you ask, man. That's the other thing.
That's funny.
Can you perfect? Here we go.
Yeah. So Tug says, can you recommend a steam cleaner, not a pro, just a weekend warrior, if that makes a difference? So yeah, I use.
Go for it, because you have a good one.
So, a lot of the detail shops and a lot of the higher volume detailers like to use, the cheap steamers and kind of those more expensive ones. But I use a Macola, the 13, I started out using the 1385, which is the canister one on, like the stand-up one on wheels. Now I'm up to the 1375 because it was a little bit smaller. Um, and I actually like the 1375 mainly because it doesn't fall over. My other one would fall over all the time, and so this one actually lays flat on its wheels. But it works great. I think it also depends on what is, for me, I don't steam clean a lot of carpets. And so I think this is important to note because if you're steam cleaning a lot of carpets and doing dirty, dirty cars, I would absolutely invest in, one of the bigger steamers. For me, I'm using it just to kind of rinse down my interiors. At this point, my client base, I'm not getting, I might get 2 or 3 dirty, dirty cars a year. So I'm rarely steam cleaning carpets. So that's why I choose this one. So maybe for a weekend warrior, this would be a good option. So this one, it holds a lot of water. It runs a long time, puts out a good amount of steam, and you can still do carpets with this one. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying if you want to do the diaper wrap and all that, you might want to get a nicer one, but this one works really, really good. It comes with a lot of different attachments. This is all I've been using in my shop for about 5 years, and I've had to replace it, but I would say that I'm a little bit higher volume than a Weekend Warrior for sure. They have a great warranty though, and so this one does a great job, and it's really affordable. So, about 180 bucks. And then what's nice is you get the floor attachment. You can steam clean your floors inside your house, which is awesome. So I loved that. So I did like that because obviously my shop's in my home. So when I buy, equipment like this, I look at how I can cross over and, still get use out of it in my home and not just in the detail shop. So that was another advantage of this one for me. So
Yeah, I think
warms
for
up.
someone like Tug, this is going to work great.
Yeah.
He says a weekend, or Tug is a weekend warrior.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be perfect for you. Like Sydney said, if you're going to be doing more volume, or
Mm-hmm.
if you're going to transition from a
Yeah.
weekend warrior to a pro, and you're going to do a lot of nasty vehicles, you
Mm-hmm.
want to spend money and get one that's going to,
Yeah.
I have a VX 5000. I have a couple of them. And I also have the Steam Chief 2. No, I'm not sure which Steam Chief I have. If it's the 250 or the rating on them are different, but they work great for me. Never had problems. Floor attachments. I just have employees. They are hard on them. The reason I switched to the Steam Chief is because the continuous fill. I never run out of steam. If you're steaming for half an hour or longer constantly, you're going to end up having to add water to the VX, which means you have to let it cool down. You add water, you have to let it come back up to pressure. So I went to the Steam Chief because of that. They're not cheap. They're expensive, but I use a lot of them, or I use it often. So but for starting out for 180 bucks, $200, I think that's a great thing.
Or is a good steamer. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great for a weekend warrior. Makes sense.
Yep. Yeah. Good question. All right, we've got one from Josh. How about Lucid? Any tips or tricks for application? Actually, it's a really easy application. So it's just going to be like every other coating. You're just going to, make sure that the headlight's totally prepped. If you've done headlight restoration or just putting it on new ones, you just paint prep, wipe, wait for that to kind of dissipate, and then you're just going to apply it like normal. The one thing about Lucid that Rainey always mentions is to make sure that you give it a little bit extra setup time that you do on paint, because that polycarbonate, it takes a little bit longer to bond with. So it will still kind of bead, but you've got a little bit longer time to wipe off. So let it sit for a little bit. It's not an immediate wipe off because it'll be pretty tacky. So let it do its thing for a little bit, but otherwise everything is exactly the same as far as application, wipe off, all that good stuff. So, and you can maybe do it in one towel, but I'm still a 2 towel person, so I like to go back just to make sure. So yeah, but no crazy application, just normal coating application. Just make sure you paint prep, of course, first. So yep, Hans. Kyle, do you owe Hans a DM? I'm assuming he means Huggy Bears, you, not me.
Yeah, I probably need to send him a DM. so I can get some stroopwafels. The thing was, Hans, I was going to be out of town till the end of the month anyways, so I didn't want stroopwafels waiting for me. So I'll send that to you and let you know when I'm going to be back.
So you know what, Hans? Yesterday I was at this specialty grocery store here in Boise, and I came across the stroopwafel display, and I have had no idea. They have like chocolate. There was some other flavor, and then there was the caramel, but there was like 4 different flavors of stroopwafels. I had no idea. I've never seen anything besides the caramel. But so tell me the other good flavors to try. I was a little, oh, look at the girls. Aren't they so cute?
Yeah, they're
Hi,
eating
guys.
Oreos for breakfast.
Oh, that's my favorite.
You know what? When you're on vacation,
Say
you
hi,
can eat whatever you
Sydney.
want for breakfast.
Hi, Sydney.
Hi.
She
How are
says
you
hi.
guys?
How are you?
Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July, everyone.
That's fun. That's fun. So yeah, so Hans, let me know the other what other flavors I should try. I was a little overwhelmed, so I didn't buy any, but I was like, oh my gosh, there's a whole display, like different flavors. I've never seen that. So can't remember. I want to say it was like maybe there was one with vanilla, but yeah, they had caramel and chocolate. It was like chocolate cream and chocolate outside. It was crazy.
I
Whatever
think there's one.
stroopwafel comes on United Airlines in that little one packet.
I think that's the caramel.
That's the one I want. That one was so good.
I think that's the caramel. Yeah. Yeah. So I got to try the other ones. I was just overwhelmed yesterday, but I was like, whoa, look at all the stroopwafels.
There's one that I think tastes like maple syrup a little bit. That's my favorite.
Okay. And I think that one might actually just be called maple.
Could be.
Well, I got to figure out which ones Randy sent us from the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Those were the maple ones, I think. That's the ones that got me hooked.
Yeah.
Those were pretty insane too.
Yes, he gave us one at Big Bear, right?
Yeah.
I remember that. Josh used cockpit on the interior of a boat. I have done that too. It's great. Yeah. Really, really good, even on those vinyl seats. Yeah. Awesome.
I love how much it suds up. Like it does have a little bit more suds than just like if you were, and I love Express, don't get me wrong. It's still one of my favorite products, but yeah, I love the suds for those dirtier.
The cockpit just has a kick up, right? It's just kicked up a little bit. Yeah. All right. Han says there is lots of kinds, each brand. So there's different brands of stroopwafels. This is all like, I got a lot of investigating to do. So there's different brands. So that makes sense. That makes sense why sometimes I've liked them and sometimes I haven't. So it's like Oreos, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, the best ones are fresh and warm. Is there places that make them fresh over there? Like that you just get them fresh? Is that like what is like that donut place we have here? Krispy Kreme? Like they're only good when they're hot, fresh. Otherwise, I don't need them. Right?
Probably.
Must be like that.
The best every time, Hans, you come on and totally distract us with our stroopwafels. We did this on the TRC podcast too, where we talked about stroopwafels and peanut butter and Nutella. I mean, it went from Bead Maker and Coffee.
Stroopwafels.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Are we gonna do a stroopwafels, at SEMA? Like,
oh, we should.
We'll have a stroopwafel morning.
Oh, I'm gonna do that because you got to put it on your coffee cup before you drink your coffee. So that's gonna be interesting. Like, how long can Sydney let her stroopwafel warm up without taking a drink of her coffee?
Oh, that's funny. Look, you can drink through it. People like bite a hole in it.
Oh, what? Holy moly, that's amazing.
So
now we're getting pretty advanced here.
So we need to know if this is a good brand or not.
Yeah. What's the good brand, guys? We got Gabriel and Hans both here. What's the good brand that we need to be looking for? Nick Vecchio. Now I'm hungry.
Nick,
how's it going, Nick?
I'm hungry too. Yeah, Nick, you're always hungry, man. I wish I had your
metabolism, man.
Metabolism, yeah.
Yep. A whole stroopwafel roll is opening for Sydney. Yep. The fresh ones are the best. All right. Some markets will make them here and make you wait. That sounds amazing. That sounds amazing.
Well, we hope everyone has let's talk about American food. Thank you, Hans, but Today's America Day for those that are here. It's 4th of July, our Independence Day.
Yep.
I'm
going to watch the hot dog
made
eating
in America.
Yeah. Yep.
Hot dog eating contest.
Yeah, I'm going to go watch that on ESPN right when we're done.
Oh shoot!
I mean, it's like a big tradition. We watch it every year here.
We're gonna go down to the bay. We're about a mile from the bay, and we're gonna go eat good food at the fair. We're gonna watch airplanes fly all day. We're gonna watch the Blue Angels again, and then we're gonna hang out for Collective Soul and fireworks. So
nice. And I have a parade. I got to watch the hot dog eating contest, and I got to take a nap, and then we go to the races. And we go to the races for about an 8-hour process. So we go about 4:30, and here in Idaho it doesn't get dark till about 10:40. So
same here.
Yeah.
I am at your level today. Now.
Yeah. So the
3 hours ahead.
fireworks here don't start till just about 10:50, and then we'll head out at midnight. So I have my 4-year-old, my 2-year-old niece here. And so I'll be taking them to the races. And I'm sure most of you know I grew up at the racetrack. So I'm so excited to take them to the races for the first time. So everybody have a fantastic 4th of July. Thank you for joining us, getting up early. We weren't sure how this would be, but it was great. We had a great audience today. So thank you guys for joining us on the 4th of July. We hope everybody has a fantastic day. And, make sure to tune in to all of our social medias over the next couple of weeks as, we've got the Air Force One project coming up, and that is going to be amazing. And we will be back here in 2 weeks.
Bye, everyone.